Hello, and welcome to the Voices of the Underheard podcast, where we aim to reduce stigma by leaning into stories and experiences of people who have been incarcerated. My name is Ariana Gonzalez. I'm an occupational therapist and executive director and founder of Later.
My name is Scott Tompkins, and I live up in northern Michigan, but these folks are kind enough to let me hang out with them and do these podcasts with all these amazing folks that have gone through the lived experience. I also have been through the lived experience. And before we get to the main star of the show today, I wanted to have a couple of our podcast crew introduce themselves, and then we'll introduce Elise.
Hi, my name is Shelby. I'm one of Ariana's occupational therapy students from Eastern Michigan University.
And my name is Emily. I am also an occupational therapy student under Ariana through Eastern Michigan University.
Great, thank you, ladies. And then we're going to have Elise Boyle tell a little bit about herself and introduce our guest star today. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Elise. I'm an occupational therapist, the vice president and resource coordinator at Later. I want to jump in and just welcome our guest for our fourth podcast episode, Yusuf Cyrus. Hello.
How everybody doing? How y'all doing today? I'm Yusuf.
Good.
I'm here for the podcast. I'm ready to share a little bit about my story and answer the questions that they have for me today. And I'm more than welcome to be here. I'm happy. I'm ready to get it kicked off.
That's great. Thanks for being here today. So I wanted to start off and ask you if you could tell your story in about 3 minutes or less for us.
Sure. So my name is Yusuf Cyrus. I was born in Ellensburg, Washington, but I'm from Oxon Hill, Maryland, completely. That's where I learned how I learned. That's where I can just say I grew as a young man and learned the trials and tribulations to where I'm at today. And I'm still learning. So I'm from PG County, Maryland. That's close to DC for people who don't know the DMV area. I moved out here in Michigan around 2019, right when COVID happened. I didn't get out much due to the lockdown, but I did go to school. I graduated from Lincoln in 2021. Ever since then, I've just kind of found my own way in life, going through my own trials and tribulations as like an 18-year-old, almost a grown man, younger grown person. I've got my own car, I've had my own apartment, but in the midst of all that time, I've got incarcerated a couple times just because of decisions I made or people I've hanged around or just even wrong place, wrong time. And that's so serious. Wrong place, wrong time is a real thing. So just be aware of like your surroundings and who you hang out with and just people's intentions. Most definitely, like a lot of people's intentions are not as pure as they always seem. A real enemy knows the value of patience. So you got to be aware of your life and where it's going. Now I'm currently 21. I plan on going back to school in Washington. I work with Later, with them in their organization. I love it. It's fun. I get to interact with everybody. I meet new people, find out new stories. My life all around has been blessed. I've seen a lot of things happen that I didn't know how it happened or how I could explain it. And I just know at the end of the day, it's God in all of this. So my life has just been blessed to the point that it's at now, to the point I'm still living and breathing and understanding and getting knowledge every day. So I'm just happy that, I could be a part of this organization. I can still tell my story. I'm happy that a lot of things is going on in my life.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that quick introduction about yourself. And I know you had just said that you're 21, you've already been incarcerated a couple of times. I was curious if you could explain what your experience being taken into custody was like.
My first experience, I was 16. I had gotten a fight basically, and they just pressed charges on me. They came and got me from my house. they had a warrant for my arrest. Now, mind you, I didn't know the understanding of warrants at the time. I didn't know warrants they could. All I know is the first warrant I knew of was if they just seen you on the street and they just ID'd you, they can do that. I didn't know that a warrant would be like they're actually looking for you, coming to your house, coming to your residencies. So I was 16. They came and got me from my house. They arrested me. I fully complied with everything because I didn't know anything that was going on. I wasn't aware of anything. So at 16, I got incarcerated in juvenile in Washtenaw. Um, I basically just got off of it basically. I still had to do 9 months of probation, but you know, I wasn't a threat to the community. I wasn't flight risk or anything. But yeah, that was my first time getting incarcerated. I didn't know anything at all. I was so young. So everything just hit me at one time and I just started picking up as I went.
And you mentioned too, like a little bit about the process and about how, like, especially at that age, you didn't know what the warrant entailed. Tell us more too about the process once you're in custody. What did that look like for you?
So when I first like went into custody, I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what no words meant. I didn't know. I honestly don't need. Like, I didn't even know the law, so I didn't know what I was facing or what was happening. So even with getting fingerprinted, my first time getting fingerprinted was actually at the courthouse when I got released from being incarcerated. But then when I went back a second time or a third time, maybe they started doing my fingerprints in the jail. So that was just something I didn't know of. Like they did certain things in certain places, or like I didn't know what a PR bond meant, or I didn't know how like structured the stuff or how in tune you have to be to what they're talking about to understand what's happening on your case. Because a lot of the times people go in there and they don't know what's going on. They're kind of just letting their lawyer, you know, tell them what to say, tell them what to do, tell them how to handle it. But then you should be able to have your own understanding too on what's going on, or you know what's being told to you, or how things is going to go in a certain manner. So educating yourself on the law and being incarcerated, even with getting booked in, like them taking your mugshot with the littlest stuff, like that stuff, that's things you got to pay attention to, because everybody doesn't know what they're facing against. Somebody could be going in there and not knowing they're about to do 100 years, but what they did wasn't even that major, but they don't know because they didn't educate themselves on that stuff. They didn't know what was going on or how they could handle it. So just by me being incarcerated, I learned a lot of stuff in the jail from other people, or hearing other people talk about their situations or what they had going on, or like what their lawyer was talking about or telling them to do. That's how I learned a lot of my stuff. I didn't learn it from a book or outside, or no one taught me. I had to learn it while I was in jail. So a lot of the knowledge I have now on the jail and on the process and how stuff works. And I still don't know how a lot of stuff works because I'm not consistently, you know, going there, or I'm not, you know, fully tuned in, because that's not something I want for myself. But the times that I was there, I was all ears, mouth shut, and I wanted to learn how could I get myself out of the situation, or how could I at least make my situation better from this point on.
Yeah, that as a follow-up to that, I'm wondering, because to me, I'm thinking like that sounds pretty scary, going to a place that you probably should understand and you need to understand, because like you said, if not, there's somebody else kind of making these decisions and kind of going through the process and you're kind of just there. So how does that, I guess, in your experience, how did that process feel? Was it scary? That's what I'm thinking that it would feel like, to not know what's
Mm,
going on.
Most definitely, it was terrifying because it's like your life is in somebody else's hands at that point. So they have the power to, you know, give you what you want, or they have the power to condemn you. So you need to educate yourself on everything. But it was the most scary part to me because I didn't know anything that was going on. But my lawyer that I had, he was explaining to me majority of things or how things work. So it's like, you got some good-hearted people out here who will let you know communication and stuff that's going on. But a lot of the stuff was just God. A lot of the stuff just happened the way it happened because I didn't. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I didn't trip. I just let things played out. Like if it happened, it happened. If it didn't, it did it. Whatever's done in the dark is gonna get brought to the light. So a lot of the stuff got brought to the light, and I eventually got off from that stuff, and that stuff is behind me now. But I just had to put a lot of trust into my lawyer and just hopefully trust what people were saying to me and just put my trust in God and everything worked out.
Good. I'm glad it worked out for you. I
Yeah.
think Scott's got our next question.
Yeah. So I know when you, having been, inside myself, and when you come home, there's like all these different walls that kind of get set up against you, and we kind of think of that as like stigma. It's like
Mhm.
you're stigmatized, and so did you have any the stigma that when you came home, the stigma of having been incarcerated, how did that impact you personally?
Um, it impacted me. I don't know how to explain. I can't give an answer, but I'll give this. When I got out, when I came home, I my mentor was the person who kind of kept me sane. He he's the one that gave me a lot of the detail and knowledge to keep me from not repeating the same mistakes. So, having them walls put up against you, it's always going to be walls put up against you in life, but it's how you go about them, it's how you manage them. It's honestly about the people honestly, and the people I knew, they helped me to get to where I was at or overcome certain obstacles in my life as of me getting out that I didn't think I could handle by myself. So it's really the people that have like the most genuine intention on your life and seeing like that everybody isn't just there for the moment, you know? Um, it weighed a lot that when I came home, I want to say my second time, it weighed a lot that I had family that didn't want to see me lose. They were waiting for me to come out, but it felt like I didn't have a lot of people to talk to. So my mentor was the only person that actually consistently like checked up on me, like make sure like my mental space was good because I'm physically fine. I'm emotionally okay, but my mental space was like tearing me up because it's a lot of things. It's you want to tell your story so bad to a lot of people, but then it's a lot of people who look at you and kind of already judge you
Mhm.
just for what it is and what it ain't. But it's hard for people to actually like come to the truth and come to realization that some people just are just put in bad positions at sometimes in their lives and they just need an outlet. But some people don't always open that outlet to them. So it's always good to have somebody who always has an outlet, someone you can always talk to, even if about the littlest stuff, like just the smallest questions. It's always good to have somebody that's like, always there.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I like what you said before about bringing it to the light, because I think that makes a big difference if you try to harbor, your stigma or your shame or whatever and keep it to yourself, then it just kind of eats away at you. But I like
Yep.
the notion of bringing it to the light, because then you're sharing your experience and you're sharing what you've learned, and hopefully someone else can learn from that as well.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
And I think Ariana's got another question for you.
Yeah, thank you. And so you mentioned you had this mentor when you came out that sounded like a really good support. Is there anything that you wish that you had that you didn't have when you came out, especially being incarcerated so young the first time?
I think as I came out at the age I was already at, I feel like I didn't need to come home to anything but somebody to, mentally check up on me and mentally just be there for me, because we're all human. So, we all go through mixed emotions. One day we feeling like this, one day we feeling like that, one day we feeling like that. Now, I'm just not saying somebody I can just continuously run to and put all my problems on and hopefully they come out with an answer. No, I'm talking about somebody I can like share how I'm feeling with or share my experiences with or like even share how I'm genuinely feeling and maybe that person could relate to a past situation and tell me how they went about it and maybe that might just resonate and transform into something that I could use and cope with. So just having somebody that could just relate with you on things that a lot of people couldn't see for themselves or somebody who's been in that position like I know you've heard this saying before. I wish I had me when I was younger, somebody who it's hard to explain because I just went through this. Like I want to be that person for somebody that person wished that they had, like the older brother, like, oh, I need $2, here's 20. Like I wish I had, I did have that, but I wish it was more like passionate, like it's not just about like materialistic things and everything. It's like a whole mental space that people go through, a whole war that people go through in their head that they're trying to fight, that they're trying to battle. So I'm just grateful that I had that person, but I wish I had at least more time to at least get out how I felt and more time with that person so I could overcome more than I'm in now. Because that person that I had back then actually gave me some good advice to the point I think a little bit differently how I used to think now. So I appreciate that person. And that person is actually a corrections officer too.
Hmm.
Thank
Oh,
you.
sorry, I'm just gonna hop in there. Do you believe that before you were incarcerated that you had or you possessed the ability to give meaning and shape to your own life?
Yes. I feel like anybody in the world, I feel like even you could do it. As long as you put your mind to it, you can shape your reality how you want to. Like manifestation is real. A lot of the stuff, a lot of the stuff, a lot of how do I say this? A lot of the things that I got in trouble for were not, how do I say this? I'm trying to figure out how to say this. If you can shape your reality a certain way, it'll work out in your favor. So I'm gonna tell y'all this right here. I don't bring this up a lot, but I have a son. He was born December 15th. I haven't had a job since then until just this earlier this month or last month. I haven't had a job. My reality that I shaped for myself worked out in my favor. I was still able to wake up every day and have a house. I was still able to wake up every day and have food. I was still waking up every day and be able to have gas. I was still waking up every day to be able to go have fun. But it's just the fact of how I shaped my reality. I didn't stress myself day to day to day to day to day to think about how I was going to do these things. I just kind of winged it. I just woke up every day and just did what came to me. And a lot of the things just happened the way it happened. And now I'm in a position 6 months later, my rent got paid. Now I'm in a position where I can pay my rent now. And I'm in a position where I can like afford to do side things, but also take care of what I need to take care of. It's just how you think, honestly, and how you shape your reality. Like, my reality is shaped so crazy to the point that patience is key. And I have to learn that, upon mine, because everybody else's is different. Some people just have it, some people were just born with it. But the way I shape my reality and the way I want my reality to go I got to take a lot of time with this. It might take till I'm 35 or 40, but when I hit that age, it'll be all worth it. And I can look back and see how far I came and just say I did it. So it's all about how you think and, shape your reality.
No, that's good. Yeah, thank you. I think Shelby's got a question for you now too.
Yes, so along with that, what advice would you give our listeners that you wish someone would have given to you?
Honestly, don't lean on your own understanding. Um, don't beat yourself up a lot too. A lot of this stuff is simple in life. Pay attention, be aware, listen, and I would say read, but I'll be hypocritical because I don't read a lot. But a lot of this stuff is just knowledge for real. If you tune into yourself and tune into what people are saying, you could catch up on some real game. Um, just work on yourself, but don't lean on your own understandings. Um, Meet people, go out and find experiences, and don't let life waste you. Don't waste your life either, because there's a lot in store. Everybody in this world has a purpose for something, but everybody don't get to unlock their purpose because they didn't believe in themselves. So just as long as you understand that you got it, and you can shape your own reality to what you want it to be and how you want it to go, and you can make the world play by your rules, you'll be unstoppable. You can do anything.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'm sure our viewers will really appreciate hearing that advice from you.
For
And
sure. I appreciate it.
I'm going to pass it back over to Scott.
Thanks, Shelby. This is one of my favorite questions along this kind of line, but it's kind of a projection, kind of a notion. So if you were I know you've been in some different facilities, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got experience being under different leadership and different administrations within those facilities. So if you were in charge of the jail, how would you run it so people returning to the community would feel they could be successful? How would you
I
do it?
would honestly put more education in the jail to the point where people don't have to go in there so dumbfounded and figure out like the hard way. If I was in charge, I would probably come out with a book saying titled like First Incarceration or something like that.
Hmm.
And I would list a bunch of things on first experiences, on how to go about certain situations, on certain meanings when the officers or the judge talks, like what does this mean, what does that mean. I would give like a full layout of how you can be more educated upon your situation being incarcerated. I will also give more like attention to like inmates, because like I said, being mentally sane is really important. Like a lot of people a lot of people go crazy in their head or go crazy in person just because they didn't have somebody to talk to. So I feel like more therapy, more interactions, is needed, to at least keep people mentally sane, because a lot of people are not mentally where they want to be at, or fully understanding or aware of what's going on because they never had that guidance. So I would give guidance for real, for real.
Good, thank you. Yeah, I'd go to your jail, but I don't want to go to jail again. So we're all good.
Yeah.
And I think Emily has a question she'd like to ask as well.
Hi, Yusuf. How you doing?
How you doing? I'm doing good.
So, as we get close to our last few questions, is there any question that you wish we had asked you? And if so, what is your response?
I don't think I wish it was any other different questions asked. I feel like everything was perfect in the way y'all asked it too. Um, I something I would just give to the viewers again is just, you know, work on yourself, and don't lean on your own understanding remember to always be aware of everything in life and what's going on, and just tune in when people are talking about something really important. Don't let it go through one ear and not the other. I've done that a lot, and I see where it's gotten me. So, just actually tune in. But I appreciate every question that you guys asked me. It was perfect. It was as perfect. It was orchestrated perfect, everything. So I just appreciate y'all.
Thank you. So this actually brings us to our last question, which you might have just answered, but let me just ask it in case you have anything to add. So our final question we like to end with, what do you hope the main takeaway is from this interview for our listeners?
That being aware is a purpose. Like, have understanding. I know I just said that, but I really want people to understand, like, it's a serious thing. Like, I would say don't be me, because I was a person, not anymore, but I was a person who would just let it go through one ear, not the other. Like, I used to live by the YOLO rule. Like, you only live once. Like, I ain't trying to hear that. No, I do need to hear that. You need to hear it too, because it's a lot in life that people could gain from off a conversation. So, or not even a conversation, you could overhear somebody. I've overheard many people talking about $1 million ideas. And it was just amazing just to hear these things and talk to these people and bump into these people and find these experiences, because it could actually take somebody somewhere. You could actually change somebody's life just with a conversation. Like, it's amazing how genuine some people are out here if you could just start by having a good conversation. So, hey, all I can say is to the people is just continue to be you. Don't let nobody change you, and read your Bible.
Thank you. I love it. I think that's great advice. And also, I just feel overall, I want to thank you for everything that you've shared today, your story, and also so much wisdom, especially for being 21 years old. I'm very impressed. So I'm glad that the listeners get to hear this and take some of these pieces with them. Thank you so
Most definitely. I appreciate y'all 100%. Thank you.
Thank you.